1 second.
How-
Purpose. No one can create your purpose for you. No one can tell you who to be. So in purpose, you have to create your own purpose. And in evolution, you have to evolve towards that purpose. It's easier to live when you have goals to meet. You understand? If you have goals to meet, then you don't feel so voided, and you understand why every day you're looking at this person in the mirror, because that is the cool part about the game. You get to be anybody you want to be.
All right, welcome. You guys are tuned into another episode of the Power of Ownership Podcast. We got our super panel tonight on live. We're on all channels: YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, um, Twitch, Kick, everywhere. So we're live. All right, so let's go ahead and get with the introductions. I'll go ahead and introduce myself first, real quick, and then I'll let our co-host and my guests. Well, let the guests go first. Then we'll introduce ourselves from there. So Liz is our guest panelist on here. So it's her first time on the podcast. We have an interview that's going to be airing on Friday night that we did earlier today. So be sure to check that out, where we talked about different aspects of ownership. So Liz, go ahead and take it away. Tell them who you are and where they can find you.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. Liz Lopez coming here from Scottsdale, Arizona. And I've been in business for 20 years. I work for Nexa Lending. And I'm on all social media channels. So please look me up. My handle's DSCR Mortgage Gal, and come and follow me. Appreciate it.
All
Thank you.
socials is the DSCR Mortgage Gal, right? That's all socials, right?
That's correct.
Gotcha. All right. And let me go ahead and do mine since mine up first, and then we'll go ahead and finish from there. My name is Brandon B. Dixon. My NMLS is 1541210. Is at Billionaire Loan Officer on all social media. Go to my website, www.applywithb.com, if you want to book me for a consultation, or if you want to apply for a mortgage. 832-753-5541. You can call me 24/7. That is the number. BrandonBDixon.com if you want to lease or list. Don't forget I'm a licensed realtor as well. Last but not least, you got HoustonCondoSales.com. We have all the badass condos and townhouses in the Houston area. So check it out. If you want to get a high rise, that is the spot to do it. That is your local authority on condos. All right. Who wants to take it first, Anthony or David?
I'm jumping there.
Anthony's next, I think, on the list.
Gotcha.
Got it. All right. Well, hey, thank you guys. My name is Anthony, aka the Mortgage Prepper. Not like a survivalist, but more like a strategist, right? Someone that sees and plans for the playing field before we even step foot on there. And what I do is I help people empower themselves to secure their own legacies through prepared home ownership. You can find me at themortgageprepper.com on my website, or you can find me at the Mortgage Prepper on all socials. You can also text or call my direct line at 919-336-0099. Looking forward to a wonderful podcast tonight, and you guys are in for a treat.
All right. Well, then I think I'm up next. So my name is David Youngs. My license number is 328679. Licensed in 7 states: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, North Dakota, Arkansas, Florida, and Tennessee. But we do have nationwide options here at Nexa Lending, which all 4 of us are a part of here, so we can work with you anywhere across the country, including the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico as well. So if you have any needs anywhere, we can help you out. One of us, if not me, somebody here. In addition to that, my brand is the Infinite Home Team. Most of where you're going to be able to find me is going to be that brand name, Infinite Home Team. That is my website, and or davidyoungs.com. Either one will take you to some cool resources. That first one is going to be a better website because it's going to have some video intros about who I am, my background, also what we do, technology, calculators, all kinds of fun stuff that you can add on there. If you want to schedule on my calendar, davidyoungscalendar.com, which, by the way, that top right corner QR code will also take you to my calendar directly for being able to schedule a call for the BDM program that we're going to talk about later in the call or later in the show. And then lastly, if you don't want to remember any of this, just go to dot.cards/David Youngs, and you can download all this into your phone in one shot, and then you don't have to remember any of it, and it's there forever. So, and then just as a recap for all of us, Nexo Lending is the largest mortgage brokerage in the history of the country. We have over 300 lender options just in residential lending alone, not including commercial and business purpose loans as well. Hundreds of programs, all at wholesale tier 1 rate sheet pricing as well. So trust us when we say if we can't do the loan, it probably doesn't exist. So if you have a question about lending, this is your panel. This is where you want to go. So thank you for joining the show, and I'll let Brandon, my co-host here, take it from there.
Right, and we just hit a milestone at Nexa, right? We just hit 4,000 LOs. Right?
Super cool.
So over 4,000 LOs, so the biggest by far. So all of these people can't be wrong. So what you don't want to be late to the party. So I have a couple of recruiting calls that's scheduled on my calendar. So yeah, if you're interested in just what all the fuss is about, just get in touch with me, and then I got somebody onboarding as well. So I'm getting back into mentoring again. I'm trying one more time, so I'm taking about 5 mentees only. I'm limiting how many mentees I'm taking. So I got a mentee coming. So we're going to take it slow, so I'm not taking everybody. Right. I'm not taking everybody, but I'm taking a couple of people. So with that being said, let's get into today's topic here. And I think we got a good one for you.
I like the videos you have queued up today. This is a good topic that I think is on the top of everybody's minds.
Right, because I see a lot of people, and what made me think about the show, I see a lot of people, and I asked them the same question. A lot of friends, or even some people that I kind of big brother a little bit, and I ask them, hey, so do you have enough money to retire? So I give them this equation, like, all right, so how old are you? All right, so you got X amount of years. All right, so you're gonna retire at 65. You got 65 to 85. And how much? And my question is, what would you like to live on? What would you say is comfortable right now? Most people say 100,000, 200,000. All right. So would you agree that 100,000 X amount of years from now will be 300,000, right? Or 200,000, right? So you take that times 20, and that's what you need to retire on. And a lot of people, mind blown. They don't have any game plan, and so many people kind of in la la land about this. So I wanted to kind of bring this to light a little bit. A lot of people don't take this into consideration. Like, what are you thinking about? So I want to say this before I go into the clip. America may not have a retirement crisis as much as has an ownership and a financial education crisis. A lot of people are not taking accountability of your entire life. A lot of people have the YOLO, you know what YOLO means, right? You only live once. And all right, screw it, I'm gonna go on this cruise and then I'll deal with it when I deal with it. A lot of people have that mentality, so let's go.
And then you turn around and you're like 55, you're like, oh, I didn't expect to make it this far.
Right. A lot of people don't think they're gonna, either make it or, they have this, kind of pessimistic, you could die from a lightning strike. All right, that what you're planning on doing? So I mean, so let's for those who care, and we're gonna evolve the conversation as we go. Not only about yourself, but the people around you. You might want to start taking accountability about your entire life. So let's go and get into this first clip here, and let me know when y'all can see the screen.
That we're about to introduce in America. Everybody keeps talking like retirement is going to be guaranteed.
We're getting a
like
strong.
One day you're just going to wake up, turn 65, and you're just magically going to be okay. But the sad reality is millions of people are approaching retirement with little to no savings. And that should scare you because trust me, it's scaring me because the cost of housing is going up. Food is going up, insurance is going up, healthcare is going up, but most people's income has been the same for the last decade. Here's the part that's concerning me the most. Most people spent their entire lives working for money, but nobody taught them how to make money work for them. Nobody taught them about investing. Nobody taught them about ownership. Nobody taught them about building up assets. Nobody was never taught the benefits of leverage. They were only taught how to be a good employee and how to keep a job, but not how to become financially independent. That's why I believe the retirement crisis isn't really a retirement problem. The people who start learning about credit, investing, business ownership, and assets today will have so many options once they get older. The people who wait, they're going to be forced to keep working longer than they ever intended to. And that seems to be the conversation that most families are avoiding at the dinner table. And this is the most important conversation you can have with your family. So you need to share this to your family members if y'all don't understand the clear path that you're on for retirement, because you got to be a damn fool if you think when you turn 65, the government is just going to have a pile of money ready to take care of you and your family. So comment credit if you ready to start building a stronger financial future.
Plugins, whatever, So
There we go.
all right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So, what's your reaction to the clip, of course, and then have we taught people how to work for money, but never taught them how to make money work for them? So Liz, you're our guest, so you get first crack at this. What's your first reaction when you seen the clip? And
Yeah, I mean, he's spot on. I know myself growing up, I was taught to work one job, stay at that job, get benefits, work your way up for 20 years. That's just that mentality of our parents. And, I wasn't taught very much about credit. I think we should be teaching credit in the schools to children and teaching them how to have passive income and buy rental properties and, invest their money in other places. He's right. He's spot on. I mean, they don't teach us any of that stuff. Luckily, I broke out of the mold and, decided to get into real estate investing, have some passive income, now get into the mortgage world where, I'm 100% in charge of the income I make. You are in charge of what you make in this business.
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Anthony, what's your reaction?
I mean, I think he's 100% right. Like Liz said, right? We built an entire educational system to produce good employees. That's about it, right? You clock in, you keep the job, don't get fired, and none of it teaches you how to make money actually work for you while you're sleeping, right? And as in doing what we do, and I'm sure you guys can attest to this, we see the fallout of this every single day, right? People treat their home like a bill instead of it being the biggest wealth building asset they'll ever hold on to, right? The real strategy is, exactly what he's describing. You stack enough income producing assets, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you look and you find out that all your expenses are covered per month, right? And now it just becomes fun where you're just doing a math equation, right? Say, I live off of $5,000 a month. Okay, now that I got enough investments that cover that 5K, what if I wanted to do it at 10K, right? Or 15K? What's stopping you from compounding it? Because and this is probably going to be another clip later on, nothing gets cheaper. That's been my experience in this life. Everything gets more expensive. So whatever you're living off of this today, $5,000 a month, that could easily be $25,000, $30,000 in 10, 15, 20 years. So, I think the main thing is just changing that mindset and understanding that the lack of the gap is not, retirement or anything like that. It's just your lack of financial education. And sometimes you can't rely on other people to teach you what you need to learn. So you got to go out there and find the information yourself.
Gotcha. David, what's your reaction? And have we taught people how to work for money and never taught them how to make money work for them?
Yeah. So, first of all, is tort a word? I couldn't help it. Every time he says it, I'm like, he means taught, right? Not tort. Taught people. Anyways.
I don't know. Maybe that's slang, though. I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering. Am I just out of the loop that tort is the new word?
Right. I have no idea. Well, I get what he was saying.
Yeah. Okay. My point is though, Lanny, I just wanted to share that my background is in financial advising. I started off as a financial advisor with the cool ability to offer mortgage lending products alongside mortgage lending and other things too. So for me, this has always been cohesive. Like this has always been the same thing. If you're going to buy a house, we're going to talk through your insurance, tax strategy, retirement strategy, everything else simultaneously. This has never been a separation of the two. It's always been together for me. But I think this is where one of the biggest disconnects happens in our industry is so many professionals in the mortgage space are focused on this side, the liability side of the balance sheet, and then the financial advisors are on the asset side of the balance sheet with the retirement planning side. But the problem with this is the financial side, the asset side, doesn't usually talk to anybody that doesn't have money to give them today. So if you want to retire today and you got $1 million to give to them today, they'll talk to you all day long. They'll help you. Absolutely. But what if you just want to get started? What if you want to get going? What's my plan? What's the focus? What should I be doing? This is where I think a lot of people struggle is where should I start? Which, funny enough, I think it's interesting. The guy that promoted this is a credit repair guy, a credit specialist. So he's thinking about your focus right now is credit repair, building your credit score up, which is a huge component in all elements across the board of finance. So build your credit score up, build your financial strategy, then you can have a nice foundation to start building your retirement plan. So I just think that's interesting is credit repair guy is talking about financial strategy here for retirement planning, but you got to start somewhere. And this is where building your group, your unit, your people, finding these people like us on this podcast, getting people around you that you can listen to that can help guide you on this and reach out to for questions and advice is so, so important. As soon as you graduate high school or college, I mean, literally immediately start planning this stuff out and figuring out what is the plan to get to 30, 40 years from now, because I think everybody can agree, most of us don't really think about it until we're way late in the game. And it's like, oh, shoot, it's been 15, 20, 30, 40 years. I should probably think about retirement. And then all of a sudden it's like, am I there? Am I not? Like, oh, and for most people, they're not. So get your people around you as fast as you can and curate that team, that panel that for yourself.
Right. Well, just to play devil advocate a little bit, most people don't know they have an issue. Don't forget, in society, we're taught that you're young. That's an excuse. Have fun. You're supposed to mess up. You're supposed to blow money. You're supposed to, live fast. You're young right now. That's what's taught. That is the social norm. So we're talking to people that don't know they have an issue. They don't start thinking about retirement until well in their 40s when they start, all right, when the back start hurting. And, oh, damn, all right, I'm getting old. So they might start thinking about retirement then. But honestly, what 18-year-old is thinking about retirement right now? Most of them are not. How many people know about assets versus liabilities? Most people want to get that Mustang. I was one of them. I had a Mustang Cobra. I think forgot what age, but I was a teenager. So you want that Mustang. You want that Trans Am. You're not worried about your future. So let's be honest, and then to add another nugget to that, a lot of us, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, y'all won't push back. A lot of us, we rely on everything else from the government, rely on, them educate us. They give us everything else. You watch the media, you don't really dig or anything else. Why would people dig on financial education? They don't dig on anything else. They take everything else at face value. So why all of a sudden, why would this be something? All right, well, I might need to think about it. So how would the average person, that has social pressures from everywhere overcome this?
I think it's funny. I'm sorry, Liz. You go ahead, Liz.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, so I was saying it's funny because my son right now, he's 20 and he's out of school and he's got a graphic design clothing line that he's trying to get off the ground. And I'm actually texting him back right now and I'm asking him, so what have you learned about money? Because I put him through a whole gauntlet of financial books and education when he was younger, but I feel like he hasn't resorted back to that, right? He has to stay on that path, and it's now up to him at 20 years old to be in charge of his own self-education. So I'm asking him, what are you learning about money? How are you learning how to handle the income when it does come, right? So I think it's somehow you have to find a way to get through to these people, the young folks, and say, hey, this is the reality, right? Sometimes you have to shock them. And I think some of these clips later on in this show is going to talk about that, is that when you take the blinders off and say, hey, this is what you're looking at, right? Go down to Walmart and you'll see a senior working at 85 years old, right? That's a reality. And if this is not who you want to be, you got to take some steps now, right? So I think it's just show them the alternative.
I think we have to start early. We don't teach credit in schools. We don't teach kids how to handle money. We don't teach them what a credit score is and how valuable it is. And, a lot of these kids come out of high school getting, their first credit cards and maxing them up and not, so many people live paycheck to paycheck. What do they say? 7 out of 10 people are living paycheck to paycheck. Very small percentage of us have a retirement. So yeah, I think we need to start early and not just like one class in high school. We need to start earlier than that. I'm teaching my son about money and about food and about reading food labels and just all kinds of stuff. We just got to start early.
Well, you know what's interesting is when I first started in the industry in 2005, I remember the stat was at that time it was just shy of, but like 182 or something like that, but just shy of $200 above whatever your income was versus your debt. Like you had $200 a month maximum of wiggle room to play with for the average family. That was in 2005. Now here we are 21 years later. I can't imagine it's been any better. It's got to be worse because we all know, and we're talking about this in later clips, inflation is not keeping up with this, inflation is outpacing wages. So wages are not keeping up. So I am almost going to guarantee pretty much everybody is right there, if not below their means of being able to get by. So where do you find the extra income to retire, to put money away? How do you do this? You have to think outside the box here, because if you're going off of the standard plan of I'm just going to work full time 40 hours a week at X pay rate and then I'm going to retire one day, is that going to work? Because back in the day, yes, that worked. You had a pension. You had these other things that would, fulfill this plan. But now 401ks, matching even, gone. Like you might have access, but gone. Like they're all the stuff that we had even 20, 30 years ago is gone away. So how do we supplement this? What do we do? I think that's where we got to start thinking outside of the box. And what we're talking about on the show here is how do you take the power of ownership equation to getting to another level with your business model and your plan, your long-term vision of how I'm going to support my family, myself, 20, 30, 50 years from now.
Gotcha. Jason, shout out to Jason Halgan. He was on he's going to be on the interview. He's a life insurance agent out of California. He said time is one thing we can't get back. I definitely agree with that. Also, to answer your question, and that's a good segue to my next clip here. We have to be on the asset chase. And I think nowadays we have more access to assets more than we ever had before, because I could trade crypto on my phone. I could, get a Robinhood account. I could have a business that's strictly AI, that's online. You didn't have those type of assets before, 20 years ago. So assets should pay for your liabilities build income producing assets early enough, and retirement becomes less about age and more about having freedom to control your time. So Jason's right on time about the time. So it's not an age, it's a time. With um it's about maximizing your 16, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later on. But let's roll this next clip, and let's get to my point here. Let me know when y'all can see the screen.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, check it out. So I was talking to one of my mentees last night, and he was asking me, he said, hey, man, you know, now that you're retired, like, what do you do every morning? And like right now it's like 11 o'clock where I am, right? And he said, you know, what do you do every day? And I said, man, shit, nothing. he said, what do you mean? I said, bro, I don't mean that I do nothing, but it's a hell of a feeling to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do and not have anybody telling you where you have to be, having to answer emails and having to go to meetings and shit like that. I literally do whatever I want to do. And, you know, I do some real estate transactions, but I don't have to do them. I do it, you know, to keep me busy. I have different businesses or whatever. I travel, you know, I kick it with the family, you know, et cetera. And the thing is this, man, and I keep making these videos because I'm trying to get people to think differently, just to have a different mindset, because as you get older, and I'm 52 now, you look at everything different. And so to retire is really just a math problem. It's not what people think that it is. Some people think like, I got to work for this company for 30 years, get this little punk ass pension, if you still get a pension, or to, you know, be able to utilize your 401k. And I keep telling people, my real estate is my 401k. My real estate is my life insurance policy. I don't have to spend $500 or $1,000 a month in a insurance policy, because when I transition, you know, my kids will just get real estate and it'll be cash flowing. They can sell shit. You know, I'll tell them not to, but they can sell shit. You know, have money coming in for in case of an emergency. It's the same thing. It just looks different. And so, like when I tell people, it's really a math problem, because if you look at the average person in the United States, they make about $55,000 to $59,000 a year, and that's gross. So let's say it's 60,000 average gross. After taxes, it's about $4,500. So the average person is bringing in about $3,500 to $3,800 a month. Now, to get $3,500 to $3,800 a month in real estate is really not that hard. And people say that they're with their job because they have healthcare. Well, in most cases, you're still paying for that healthcare. The company is paying a larger percentage of it. And so you can pay for that yourself. Like with me and my wife, my healthcare for medical, dental, optical, et cetera, it's about $1,200, $1,250, you know, a month. I just have a rental property that pays for that. And so you can really look at it and say, well, if I'm bringing in, let's just say $4,000 a month. And then if you say, okay, each property is going to generate, depending on if you buy it right in the right location, it's going to bring in $600 to $800 a month. So technically you can retire off of 7 properties. And then you can just back into the number and say, okay, if I just get 1 property per year, you know, for the next 6 or 7 years, if you live at the average of 60,000, you can really retire. And that retirement, if you're making that amount of money, is enough for you to cover all of the current expenses that you have. Now, if you want to live higher on the hog, now you just buy more rental properties. And so you just can set a target and say, okay, I want to retire in 10 years. My goal is to do 1 property per year, which isn't hard to do. And so in 10 years, if you're making, you know, if you got 10 properties and you're making $600 to $700 per month, it's like, shit, you're $70,000, $80,000 net every year. And so you can retire and do the same shit and start enjoying life. And when you retire, it doesn't mean that you just sit around and do nothing, but you do nothing if you choose to do nothing. If you want to keep growing and get a bigger house, more cars, whatever, you just keep adding to your portfolio. So it's nothing hard about this stuff, man. This isn't rocket science. You can be like me, getting up at 11 o'clock, having a cigar, drinking your coffee, watching people jog and shit, walking their dogs and shit. What could be better than that? Fuck all those Rolls Royces and Gucci and Louis Vuitton. Spend your money on assets that actually drives income for you. And then you can do the same thing, man. It's not rocket science. Simple shit.
Love it.
For the record, for the record, I like cars, and you know, I don't know about Louis Vuitton, but I do like the cars and the Mercedes and the BMWs and stuff like that. But anyway, I just have to get an extra property to pay for it. So with that being said, this to digest that, I mean, you said it, David, earlier. You got to get creative, and one of the creative things he was saying, instead of 401k, getting a rental portfolio. And that's one of the best things, because that is ongoing. And then you always can add to it. You could sell, like you said, you could sell if you need a big chunk. There's all kind of flexible things that you could do. Also, the tax benefits of it, the depreciation factor. So it's a lot that you could do with these properties. Let me go ahead and pose the question. Don't forget, give me a natural reaction to this clip. Is the real retirement strategy building enough assets to cover your liabilities, and how early should someone start building that plan? And Liz, again, I'll give it to you since I guess, but anybody can hop in.
I'm all about those rental properties. So,
Right.
I mean, yeah, if you start buying one property at age 25, buy one property a year until you retire, I mean, you'd have a massive amount of cash flow. If you're managing, them properly, you could have a massive amount of cash flow and retire just living off of your rental properties, not to mention all the equity that you would have built up.
Right.
So, yeah, I highly agree with what he says about buying a rental property and starting early. That's another thing. I did not start buying rentals early because I was taught from a young age just to buy one house, grow up in that one house, just like the same mentality of one job. So I did not grow up with the family that taught me to be an entrepreneur, have that entrepreneur mindset. My family was more about the risk, and it was too much risk. So yeah, you got to take those risks if you want to build, a large portfolio like this.
Yep, high risk, high reward. I mean, a lot of people, they, a lot of people. I noticed this. A lot of people are impoverished because of their mind state. I never understood the analogy broke. Like, all right, what do you mean broke? I never understood, like, why do you call the person broke? That doesn't have any money. What is broke? I don't get the correlation, right? But going through life, I understand broke. Broke is short for broken. Your mentality is broken. So it's something going on up here that you're not getting it. You see, and I'll give you the perfect thing. Mike Cordes, the CEO of Nexa, said on the time, he has a town hall every week, every Tuesday. In fact, we got one tomorrow. And somebody said something like, yeah, I see an opportunity there. I don't know if y'all were on the call last week. He's like, yeah, I see opportunity. So owners see opportunities. Everybody else see problems and work. Your mentality is broken.
To your point, we just acquired UMortgage, a
Right.
massive brokerage. I mean, a big time player. We acquired them. They're a competition, but because Mike was entertaining and the concept and having dialogue and open-minded and thinking the visionary thought process here, like, hey, why don't you look at working with us instead of against us, kind of a thing? And they kept that dialogue open, and now here they are. You never know where it's going to go. Like, that's the cool thing, is be open-minded. I think that's one of the main things here, is be open-minded. Anything can work. It's just a matter of what you want to put into it for your work involved. So thinking about this investment strategy here that he's talking about, like buying properties, right away you're like, oh my God, I need 20, 25, 30% down, right? Well, potentially, but not if it's your primary residence. Like, start with your primary residence as a 3.5%, 5% down payment, because if you live there, then you can get a GSE insured loan, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, USDA. You can get a GSE loan. And then with that in place, now live there for 1 year. That's the occupancy requirement. You're signing a contract saying, I am going to live here for 12 months or longer. So keep in mind, you have to sign an occupancy agreement. You can't just buy a property, call it an investment, and then flip it. You got to live there. But if you live there for 12 months, and then go buy the next one, you only had 3 to 5% down. All that extra money you've been able to save now over that entire year, and all that rental income you can put towards that next property that maybe does require 15, 20, 25% down. And then you get that one, you have the rental income, wait a year or so, build the income back or the assets back up again, do it again. And, you know, as DSCR mortgage gal here will tell you probably, that's exactly the way to do it. And then don't even worry about the qualification at this point, because it doesn't even matter what your income is at this point. Now it's about the cash flow of the property. So you don't even have to worry about, like, are you even working? Do you have a job? Are you self-employed? It doesn't even matter. We're looking at the cash flow of the property. So you just go, and you start acquiring your empire of real estate of 20, 40, 50, 100 properties. There's your retirement plan. Done. In theory, it's easy. Now, granted, furnace could go out, air conditioning, renters don't pay their rent on time. There's all kinds of other things that can come into play here, which is where renters insurance and facilitators come into play. Like, there's all kinds of other things that can help with it.
Let's keep it real. That's a minority of times. What happens is Carnival, Miami, Vancouver, Europe vacation.
The things that distract you.
The things that, that's what happens. People want. I want this next bigger purse. I want this better car. I want all of these other things that's robbing your future prosperity, because you want what the Joneses have. Let's be honest. It's not the mishaps that happens every now and then. It's the material items. It's the vacations. It's the other stuff that doesn't acquire any. It's a liability. It's not making you any money. So we have to have the discipline. Let's be honest. People want to look rich before they're actually rich. You know, everything. Look at this society. Everything is to cut corners. We have plastic surgery. We have lipo. We have, now it's what is the Bob Anthony right now, the Bow Wow thing where you could really, just have a stage plane looking like you hopping on private, private plane. So everything is fugazi, right? Mm-hmm. So people don't have the discipline to actually wait till you get rich. And hey, I'm in construction mode. Who cares how I look right now? How am I going to look? And we'll talk about this later on. How am I going to look at 85?
Too many broke millionaires. Too many people driving BMWs and Teslas, and they can barely even pay their bills.
Right.
But they have a fancy car.
Right.
Listen, and it's funny because Liz mentioned something that resonated with me. When I was growing up, my mom and dad, I remember when we first bought our first house, I thought it was the best thing in the world, right? But then there was never any inclination of, well, let's do this again, right? Or let's move in a couple of months or a couple of years and let's do this again. So we never even had that thought because we weren't raised in that proximity of people that were thinking like that. So remember, they say, show me who you surround yourself with, and I'll show you what your future's gonna look like, right? I guarantee if you go down to Walmart, talk to that 75, 80-year-old greeter, and you ask them, hey, you remember that trip you went to Cabo at 35 that cost $10,000? Would you trade that to not have to be here working today? I guarantee he says yes, right? So all these things that people are spending money on to keep up with the Joneses, that's part of that broken mentality that you talk about, Brandon, right? That's part of that being I guess what I would call it, a product of this entire advertising, economy that we have, right? Every time you turn on that television,
consumerism,
right? Every time you turn on television, you're looking at McDonald's, terrible food for you, for your body. You're looking at terrible choices to spend your money on, right? They're never advertising assets. You've never seen a commercial say, "Hey, you think about buying this rental property? This is going to do this, and that for your retirement." No, they're talking about buying this $700 a month lease, spend all this, do all this crap, right? So what we're seeing is that people are just product of this consumer market And you have to be actively surrounding yourself with the right people, because if you're not surrounding yourself with the right people, there's no chance that you'll break through that mentality. I'm just gonna say it plain. If you're not around the right people, you have no shot. There's an entire economy directed that's been rolling for hundreds of years, directed to you as a consumer to make you become dependent on the government and the economy, and then it's going to force you into being that greeter. Which I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but it's going to force you to having to work at a time where you should be relaxing and spending time with your family and your grandkids. All right.
Let me give you a little bit of pushback. I don't think it's the society. Let me ask you this. If I go to a party where everybody's doing drugs and drinking, that means that I have to do it?
No.
You know, it's almost like you say, if your friend's going to jump off a bridge, would you?
I can tell you this, the percentage of the chances of you doing drugs exponentially rise up if you're around people that do drugs.
However, but nobody's putting a gun to your head and say, do this.
They're also not teaching.
That's the easy route, right? It's the easy path. You can fall into that very easily. It takes effort to pull yourself out of that, because I'm telling you, if you keep hanging around those parties,
eventually it'll rub off on you.
Yeah, it's gonna come down, but it takes a little bit of effort to pull yourself out that party. So it's not for me, and then you find yourself surrounded with the right people.
Right. Well, the thing
I
is,
agree.
We're still ultimately responsible for everything that we do. You know, so and nowadays, especially because you have access to information that we didn't have. We used to have encyclopedias back in the day, so a lot of this knowledge would be behind closed doors. You have knowledge. You're watching the podcast, but it's a shame that the Power of Ownership podcast is not going to get as much views as Gossip TV. You know, who's with who, or Murder TV, or whatever. That's more again. It doesn't. The right thing doesn't feel good. Just like we were saying, like, my back is hurting from doing a back workout. Your back is hurting. It just doesn't feel good. But if you do it consistently, Liz was talking about this earlier, consistently working out 6-7 days a week, later on you're going to feel good. Right. But we don't have that tunnel vision to see it through. We're looking at the now. You see
where's that discipline? Where's that discipline? Not. That's the thing. I feel like I did a lot of martial arts when I was a youngster, and that discipline I learned at that point. I saw everybody around me. No one had that discipline, right? That's the thing. You got to start early. If you don't build that discipline early, imagine trying to build that up after you've already been infiltrated with all the trash, right? You know what I mean? Like, imagine trying to build that discipline from scratch. It gets much, much harder. This is why I say, like Liz says, if you don't start early, you're making it harder on yourself.
Right. Well, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
We have to start getting into these schools and teaching these kids at a young age.
Well, this is what the Power of Ownership podcast is about. This is my way of teaching. This is the way, because this is out here. As long as AI will permit us to have digital content, this will be out here. But we do need to do some analog stuff as well.
Can I throw out one other thing? Is if you're in that situation, if you're thinking like, most of my friends, everything I've ever learned is this other thing over here, and this is hopefully you're tuning into this podcast and you're like, this is an interesting concept. This is kind of a new thought. Then find that one friend, that one person, that one thing. Like, go, if he takes a Google search, honestly, like, go find the friend. And then I'll be honest, if you reach out to any person online that is truly trying to give back to the community and help, like us, if you said, David, Brandon, any of you guys, like, I want to learn more, like, how do I do this? We are going to bend over backwards and help you and be like, what can we do to help you? Any good professional, no matter how high they are, is going to take the time to help you. So reach out to these people, find your buddy, find your thing, and go learn the stuff. Like, there's no, like, to your point, Brandon, there's no excuse for not finding this stuff. Yes, we're not taught this in schools. Yes, we're not taught this by our families, but there's no reason with the internet now. I mean, it's not even a Google search anymore. It's AI. It's like, I want to become an investor. What do I do? And like, you start typing this thing in, and it's like, oh my goodness, it'll give you the entire blueprint. Everything you need to know. There's literally no excuse, but you need one person that you can kind of have as a mentor that you can follow and help guide you. If you find that one person, it'll really help you.
The difference is action. A lot of people talk a good game, but they don't take a lot of action. Let me read the clip. They're scared. Yeah. Uncertainty. Jason said, "I wish I was on. Would love to talk about mortgage protection on each property." Yeah, mortgage protection is definitely important as well. That basically, like he said in his next one, mortgage protection is just a term policy per asset. So each particular property has its own mortgage protection, and then if you do pass, that does pay off each property for your legacy. So we're going to talk about this a little bit later on. I want to evolve the conversation. And then Jason said, so good, starting the process, getting into a DSCR property. I think Jason might be looking to get a property here soon as well. We were talking earlier. So
by the way, can I just say, as a former insurance licensed professional for almost a decade, helping Jason out here, insurance is probably the least sexy product you could ever sell. I mean, like literally, like you're going to pay money to hope the money might come back one day. I mean, it's a gamble, but it's not a fun gamble. It's not like, blackjack or, roulette or whatever.
I disagree. It's not a gamble. This is the one thing for sure, two things for certain. You will kick off.
Yep.
You're going to kick off. And when you kick off, it's a matter of how much responsibility do I want to take? Do I have loved ones that I love that I want to see them have a better life? If you do, then it's a no-brainer. If you selfish and you don't care and all right, I'm only here today, go tomorrow, whatever happens, then you might not want to invest in life insurance. This is for somebody else than yourself. So you have to be mature enough to say, hey, this is not for me.
Yeah. Which by the way, that was literally what I was going to say next. So you did probably said it better and shorter than I would have anyway. So awesome job. By the way, just want to point out what the life insurance policy that I put on my father, who died young at age 53 when he died of cancer. My mom is still living on that policy. That's how she got by, is that life insurance policy. He didn't have enough, but he had enough to get by for my mom. So, enough that my mom was able to get by. So just saying, it doesn't sound great in the time. Like, it's not a fun topic. Talking about death, talking about suffering, talking about disability. None of this stuff sounds fun. But you need to have the conversation. And it's amazing, mind-boggling, how many people do not have enough insurance on themselves for any of these categories. So please have that.
If they made it mandatory, they would. Just like car insurance. Car insurance is mandatory. That's the only reason people have it.
Exactly.
So let's go into this next turn a little bit. Most people aren't prepared for real numbers. We live in a financial la-la land because we rarely calculate what retirement actually costs and build a strategy to get there. Most people if you talk about them, they're oblivious. I talked to some Gen Zers, and they're like, I don't know if I'm going to live that long. I might off myself. I don't want to get that old. This is real Gen Z. I've had real conversations like, dang, you guys got, 40 years, won't you? So it's most people live. This is real conversations that I've had. People don't really want to. The numbers scared them. So let's dive into a little bit of numbers here. So this is a short clip, so let's go ahead and get this going real quick. Let me know when y'all can see the screen.
Say 30, 65. I've got some financial news for you that you might either find, terrifying, or maybe you might find it comforting. I think it really depends on which age bracket you're in that I'm going to cover as to what you see it as. Okay, here's the first group. People between the ages of 55 and 64. If you are in that age group, studies say you should expect to have at least $1.3 million in your retirement account by the time you turn 65. That's the bare minimum. And that will give you about $50,000 a year in income during your retirement before taxes. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's the bare minimum. Okay, what if you're between the ages of 45 and maybe 54? Well, you should expect to have saved about $1.7 million for retirement. And by now, by your age between 45 and as late as 54, you should have at least $566,000 in your retirement account. And according to the Fidelity study, that age group, they only have about $62,000 saved. Okay, 35 to 44-year-olds. If you're in that age bracket, you should expect that you're going to need about $2.3 million for retirement. And by now, by the age of 35 to 44 at the latest, you should have at least $231,000 in your retirement account. And the reality is that this study says that most people in that age group only have about 37. And then finally, what if you're 25 to 34? Well, you're going to need 3.2 million for retirement. I know, terrifying. And by now, by the age of 25 to 34, you should have at least $78,000 in your retirement account. And if you look at the people in the age bracket, the study says that most of them only have 14,000. So a lot of that is terrifying. So I don't know how you feel about all of this, but those are the realities. In the comment section, let me know if this has been.
I think that's low ball conservative numbers. You know, that's not going on vacation every year. That's not going out to eat. That's spam and bologna sandwiches. Peanut butter and jelly.
What I couldn't help but notice about all of those stats that he was showing, like all the clips and the stats, is no matter what demographic age category we're looking at, every single one is way, way, way underfunded. Every single one. It's not just one category. Like, oh, you're really close to retirement and you're not there yet. It's no matter where you go, 65, 55, 45, 35, 25, it doesn't matter. You have a massive gap in every single demographic. Why is that? And I think, honestly, it's just a lack of education. It's a lack of understanding of how this whole thing works. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. I'll deal with it when I have to deal with it kind of a mentality. And it's a terrible plan. Or the government will take care of me, or my parents or grandparents will take care of me with something that, by the way, they have the same mentality. They're like, I don't need to worry about this. I'll be fine. Like, I remember my great-grandparents passed away. My grandparents got nothing. My grandparents passed away. My parents got nothing. My parents passed away. We got nothing. Nobody thought anything.
So I would say that was by design. None of this stuff is by accident, guys. I mean, remember, we had a whole generation that was told and raised that say, hey, work a job, stay there for 30, 40 years. We'll take care of you, Social Security, right? That was the whole plan. So that wasn't by accident. And when they knew that it wasn't going to apply to the next generation, now you have a new generation that's been raised by that original generation that was just told, just relax, stay there, you'll be taken care of. So they knew that second generation wasn't going to have access to the right mindset that's going to prepare them for their actual future that's coming to them, right? So it's not by accident, right? But the key thing is understanding that the numbers are terrifying. They're supposed to be terrifying, but it's not to kind of keep you in a position where you put your head in the sand, right? There's certain type of people on this planet that when you see something in front of you that's an issue, the easy route is just to ignore it, right? And you can always tell yourself, hey, I probably won't make it that long. You know, I remember when I was young, I was in college, my girlfriend, her mother died in church, praising the Lord, had a heart attack right in church. And she was the sweetest person I ever met. And that really devastated me, right? And I thought, if this is the type of world I'm in, where these amazing people get taken out early, I probably won't make it long, right? So there, you could talk yourself out of preparing for your future very easily. There are all kinds of ways to do it. Thing is, you got to be able to look at it and say, hey, just in case. And if there's anybody that relies on me, if you got any children, then you really have to kind of look in and start preparing for that. I think that's the main thing, is just understanding that the system is meant for you not to be an owner. You don't want you to be an owner, right? But there are owners and there are renters, right? So you got to figure out which side you want to be on.
Right, Liz, you want to tap in that? Because I do have some pushback on that, but I'm gonna get to the same.
I don't think it would really matter if people knew what the number was. You know, credit card debt is at an all-time high at what 1.2 trillion. You know, this year credit card debt is at 54 billion, I believe, over the prior year. I mean, that's insane. So I don't think people really care about that. People are not focusing on their retirement. They're thinking about the now. Everybody wants to, you know, just have whatever they want. They want to buy the bigger car, the bigger house. They want to be broke millionaires.
Let me pose this, and then we'll get to the real question here. What if this is set up for owners? But nobody's going to baby you, though. I think that's the thing that most people get misconstrued. People think or want people to hold them by the hand, and it's not like that. It's survival of the fittest. I talked to you the other day, we were talking that most of the tax code is how not to pay taxes. This is set up for the ownership class. However, it's not going to be here. Here's the steps. You know, I'm not going to, hey, open wide, open, say I'm not going to feed you the information. It's over here. Just like everything else. Everything, the information is out there. It's about not only seeking that information, but putting it in action. That's what eliminates most people. Most people don't want that smoke. Because with that comes responsibility. And I don't want that. I don't want to do that.
Discipline, yeah.
And that don't feel good. You know, so just like we hitting the gym and those body aches, that don't feel good right away. But that BMW does. So I would argue this. What about this? The people that you're spending money on, they're just great business owners. They're great advertisers. They're great marketers. And they got you to buy their product.
Yep.
Against your better judgment, against your better interests. McDonald's, it says on the thing, hey, this food gonna cause cancer. You're gonna kill yourself. It says it on Surgeon General, it says the McNugget gonna kill you.
But it's so amazing.
You know.
Have you had a McGriddle, bro, or a Big Mac?
Nah, I don't eat pork, so I'm kosher. But you know, but it says it on there. But people, the line is always filled. So people purposely stick their head in the sand because it's a utopia. They think if I don't, the boogeyman, if I don't acknowledge it, it's not there. But
they don't think about that future and what could happen to them. They're thinking about the now. That's it.
Right. They're thinking about the now.
I want to share Jason's comment right now, and I want to make a point about this here. So his last comment, we didn't talk about this yet. He said his uncle passed 29 and a half years into a 30-year term. Even if you do everything right, you still might have life that happens, that hits you, that derails the plan, that causes you to pivot in the direction that you have to go. I mean, my goodness, like
explain that, David. That term. What are you saying?
Yeah. So now keep in mind, I don't know if he's talking specifically about a mortgage protection term or a term life insurance policy or something to a disability term policy. It could be any number of things, but either way, it doesn't really change. The point is, whatever, when you buy a life insurance policy or a disability policy or whatever it is, your term is set. If you're not buying a whole life policy, which is a whole nother conversation that we're not going to get into right now. He says just a regular term policy. There we go. Okay. So, just saying, if you're buying a whole life policy that's different, a whole nother algorithm that goes into this thing. But in my opinion, personally, typically for the most people, buying just a simple term policy is good. It's sufficient for what you need at the moment, just to get you by and protect your family. However, even if you do everything right, you still don't know what's going to happen. So there's always that chance. And that's, I think, the pushback we would get from our audience is like, well, yeah, but if I buy this insurance and this insurance and this insurance and this insurance and this one, like that's $1,000 a month, $1,500, $2,000 a month. Like I could take all that money and do XYZ thing with it. True. Absolutely true. And if you want to gamble on that, it might pay out, it might work, but the odds say it won't. I mean, 1 in 4 people is the stats. 25% of people will have a disability that will cause them to stop being able to work for a period of time. Wouldn't it be nice if you had some insurance coverage that paid for that? Especially if it was like $25-$30 a month. I mean, like, come on, you buy that at McDonald's in one.
And if you're eating at McDonald's every week, right? If you're not working out, if you're drinking a 6-pack a day, right? Are you paying attention to what's going on, right? So you understand your lifestyle.
Yep.
So that's the folks that are in line at McDonald's. These are the people that really need that type of stuff, right? Because you're not helping yourself on the front end, right? So, yeah.
Right. This is what I gather, and then we're going to go ahead and get to the next clip here. I think from an early age, we are dopamine addicts. We're addicted to dopamine is short for dope. You know, dope. We're dope addicts, and it might not be physical dope, but it's that pleasure. It's those hormones or whatever's firing. Because think about it, at an early age, we were taught that McDonald's was a treat. Oh, we're going to McDonald's, yay! It's psychologically programming you. That's a treat. And I was the same way because, you know, as a kid, all right, when we went out to eat, it was celebrated. So like, yeah, as soon as I got to college, when I could go out to McDonald's anytime I want to, this was the epitome of freedom. Oh man, I can go to McDonald's anytime. I hit it 2 for 2, and I'm free. I don't have to wait till we all go out. I can go out anytime. I'm gonna go out every night, and I abused it. I go out every night, man. I'm going to McDonald's every night. I'm Domino's every night, man. I'm living it up.
But Brandon, can I add one thing? It just came to me. So funny enough, one of my first words or phrases as a kid was eat back there. Eat back there. That meant McDonald's because we drove past McDonald's and I knew that was a treat and we only got it once in a while, very rarely. Eat back there, eat back there, eat back there. And I would say that apparently, I didn't even know this until I was older, that my parents told me, did you know that whenever we drove by a McDonald's, you would say eat back there? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea about what you're talking about. They're like, yeah, that's what you used to call it. Eat back there, because I want that, and you just drove past it. But my parents drove past it, which was good. They drove past. In hindsight, I'm like, thank you for not bringing me there every time, because I said eat back there and I wanted it, and you didn't placate to the child in me of like, oh, he wants McDonald's. Let's go get him McDonald's. It's like, no, son, we're gonna drive past this. We're gonna keep going, and then I literally associated it with eat back there was my phrase, not McDonald's, eat back there, because it was behind me and I couldn't have it. So I never actually put those two together until this show. So,
right.
Yeah.
So these are brilliant strategists. They have some of the most brilliant minds as far as marketing, because think about it, as a kid, they had several different toys. They had the Happy Meal. This is, they had the games with Monopoly and stuff where you had to get it. I had to get the piece. Well, I got to go one more time because I need one more piece to solve the, to get this Monopoly or whatever. It's brilliant strategy and brilliant marketing, and it's addictive. And then it amplified with Instagram, with social media. Now I could show off my food. Hey, look, I'm eating at this restaurant. You can't eat at this restaurant. Hey, look at this car. You ain't got this car. Hey, look at my house. You ain't got this house. So it amplified it the last 10 to 15 years. So it amplified the addiction. So let's get into this next clip. Let's talk about ownership a little bit. Ownership means owning your entire life, not just today. If you enjoy the day while leaving your older self dependent on your children or the government, you never fully took ownership. So I would argue, and we're going to get into this clip, that when you're in that mind frame, you're robbing your older self. You're not taking responsibility. You're still avoiding adulthood. And what I mean by that is that, hey, I got to look at not only the people surrounding me, I'm gonna take responsibility for them, and I'm gonna take responsibility beyond my life. But we duck that. Too hard. You know, so let's get into this. Let's get into this clip, and we'll develop this here in a second. We're making good time. We only got a few more clips. All right, let's run this one.
Issue where most Americans will run out of money. They will outlive their money in 11 years or less. And so, and the fastest growing segment of American society today are those people reaching over the age of 100. So if you retire today 65 or 70, but if you're out of money at age 76 and you're relying on what? Social Security, charity welfare, or your children for support, what is that going to do? Taxes aren't going to go down. They're going to go up. And so they outlive their money. Do you know that's the number one fear? When people finally have a wake-up call at retirement, they all of a sudden go, wait a minute, we're going to outlive our money maybe, you know, and then it becomes a reality.
How bad is the retirement crisis?
I think we're going to have it.
Most people outlive their money. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Give me your natural reaction. And if retirement plans depends on your kids, Social Security or assistance, do you truly take ownership of your financial life?
I mean, I would say no. And I say that with love, right? Not judgment. But I think, in my opinion, ownership means owning your entire life, not just the version of you that's currently healthy and earning money or earning big money nowadays. If your plan is that your kids or the government's going to supplement you, you didn't really have a plan to start with, right? You made a wish and then handed the bill to somebody else. So for me, like my son, I want him inheriting my retirement as an obligation. I want him to inherit assets, right? Not my expenses. So I think taking ownership means, you know, building the income and the options before you need them. Because let's be honest, we've seen those bitter, angry, older folks, right? And we wonder why they got that way. And when I tell you, when you get old and you realize your body's failing you, your health is failing you, you've lost a lot of people, you get jaded, especially when you realize that you solely had a hand in you not being where you wanted to be. So then you become bitter, angry, and then now the last part of your life where you're supposed to be relaxed and imparting wisdom to your family, now you're in a very tough spot, right? You don't want to be, no one wants to live like that. So I think that's the importance of the plan ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with him, with Anthony, that you're not taking ownership of your financial life if you're going to be relying on your kids, you know, to fund your retirement or to take care of you. Or who wants to be living with their kids? I mean, maybe people do, but when they're 90 years old and having their kids take care of them. I mean, buy a house. At least buy a house that's going to build equity and get a reverse mortgage, so you can stay in your home and you can, you know, have long-term care come into your home, and not have to rely just on, you know, your kids. You know, your reverse mortgages are amazing. They can eliminate your monthly payments. They have a line of credit that can be tied to it that can actually increase more than your property value if you don't use it. But you can pull it out, and your home could be upside down on a reverse mortgage, and you still won't owe the difference. So there's a lot of things that people can do to take ownership. Definitely buying real estate, at least having a primary residence that builds equity, and trying not to max everything out, just trying to get everything handled. And as you're getting into those retirement years, just start thinking about how you can pay off that debt, pay down that debt, live in a smaller house, don't live beyond your means. And figure out some other ways that you can bring in additional income, you know, whether it's real estate or crypto or, I don't know, there's tons of other different ways, buying, you know, self-storage, or, I mean, who knows? There's tons of different ways that you can bring in additional income. You just got to think outside the box, and let's not play the victim mentality.
Right. We talked about victim last week.
I'm glad you brought up the reverse mortgage point. By the way, one of my colleagues from my former company, not here now yet, we'll see, but one of my former colleagues, he actually has a presentation that I talked with him about, walked through the whole process, and he said in his presentation, I'm going to argue if you have $10,000 in the bank or 10 million in the bank and you have a house, you should have a reverse mortgage. And by the end of this presentation, I'm going to prove it to you. And then he walks through like 10 different scenarios of hypotheticals. You're in this situation. You're in this one. You're in this one. You're in this one. And then he just goes through it all. And he's like, this is where you would be with it at the end. And after seeing that, I'm like, well, crap. I wish I was old enough to get a reverse mortgage. Like, I need one right now. like this is amazing. I don't understand why everybody doesn't have this, but it's because everybody thinks reverse mortgages are bad. That's the mentality that we have nowadays. Is the same as so many other things. Certain things, adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs are bad. There's so many things that people think are bad because of what they knew about 15, 20, 25 years ago that are no longer the same situation today. The regulation changed, the products have changed, the advice has changed. Everything is 180-degree difference. But nobody knows this. They're still assuming it's the same, which is where a qualified advisor comes in. And sadly, even in our space, in the mortgage community, there are very few mortgage professionals that can speak to insurance, tax strategy, retirement strategy, reverse mortgage planning, and all these other things that tie into what we do, including, of course, you as well for the DSCR ratio program of investor strategy. So when we talk about all these different things, there's so many things that just it's just sad that there's not a lot of education on this in the market. But if you have the right person with you, these people right here on the panel, any one of us can help you, guide you through this. If you want to DM us, reach out to us directly. We can help you find the right people, even if it's not us directly. We'll get you to the right people.
Right, Jason said, I need to see that, not what I would have thought. Yeah, reverse is different. It's more of a well-building strategy now. It's different than the forward mortgage, but it does have a lot of, a lot of positive. It's not what the media once upon a time.
The math works. You just have to see the math.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, some of those products don't have DTI requirements. You could be in pre-foreclosure. And there's proprietary products you can start getting when you're 55 years old.
Right. So let's go into this next clip here. And we're going to skip around a little bit. We're going to get to the last couple here. So, David mentioned earlier that you can do everything right and still be one event away from your plan collapsing. A job is income, not a retirement strategy. Never put your entire financial future in one basket. And I see that a lot, especially, Liz, you talked about earlier, how we get like one-dimensional. And we were taught to be one-dimensional, and that was steady. I was stable, and people that had multiple things are, you guys are flaky. Nah, is that the new age and the way technology is coming, especially with AI, you gotta not be scared to try things, because you're gonna need 7 streams of income. So if this business doesn't work out, all right, get another one. You need these assets to multiply, because I think we're looking at a 3x. I think a rental in my area right now is I want to say anywhere from the $18,000 to $2,000. In Houston, you can't get a house unless it's in the hood for less than like $250 now. It used to be like $120 just a few years ago, $120, $150. You get a lot of houses. Now it's $250. And that's bare minimum. That's meat and potatoes. So what I'm saying by that is that I think in the next 20 years we're looking at $450. We're looking at $4,000 rent. But you're judging on today's standards, and it's not going to be the same. So your level of living might not increase, but the prices will. So I think that 50,000, when we talked about earlier, that's going to be poverty right now. 50,000, you can't afford a house right now. you're gonna need a cosigner. Serious. I had early today in Atlanta. You're not gonna be able to afford. You need tenants in common. So let's go ahead and run this next. We got a plan for that. Let's go ahead and run this next clip, and let's go ahead and talk about it. All right, let me know when y'all can see the screen.
I had a planned harder when I was younger.
Things if it went better, I wouldn't be going to work this morning. I'd be going fishing or I'd be going hunting. I mean, that's in my mind a lot, and I blame myself for it. We'll just go ahead and punch right in.
Tom Coomer is still working. He's 80 years old, a part-time greeter 5 days a week at Walmart.
How long have you worked here?
I'm going on 9 years.
9 years.
I'm only going to work 30.
Coomer is a kidder, but why he's still working is no joke.
When you got this job, you needed this job.
Yeah, you betcha I did. When you lose your retirement at a big place like McDonnell Douglas, you need a job.
In 1994, McDonnell Douglas closed its plant in nearby Tulsa. Coomer, a machinist, had worked there 29 years.
And all of a sudden, the loudspeaker come on, and it said, "Attention, McDonnell Douglas will close in 60 days." And I mean, we stopped and looked at each other and thought, what in the world? To me, that was just like you'd walked up and slapped me in the face.
Because all your plans.
All my dreams was just then going out the door.
He was 56 years old and 1 year shy of a full pension. Financially, the Coomers have never recovered. Over the years, they burned through retirement savings, downsized their house and lifestyle, but still have a mortgage they can never pay off.
So we talked about people doing the wrong thing. What about people that did the right thing and still came up short? So
I wouldn't say that was the right thing, Brandon. That was just the thing we're told.
Quote unquote, in society, the right thing. They didn't go buy the fancy car. They didn't go on the vacation, stuff like that. They worked and they did what they was told. They as what we perceive as tax-paying citizens, and but still came up short. My thing is this: without strategy, you still gonna come up short. So go ahead. I'm gonna open it up. Give me this natural reaction to your clip, and what should people build outside of the job? So if one gets laid off, company closures, economic shift, can't destroy decades of retirement planning. What can give us some ideas on what people could do? Because some people that's all they know. They don't have the knowledge. That's what they've been taught. And they're just following tradition, right? So some people, I don't think it's enough. It won't be enough. Because even 401k is not enough.
Yeah, that clip, like that wrecks me every time I see that, because back then he couldn't go online and say, hey, how do I make sure my retirement is straight? What investment strategies can I find? He couldn't find that info, right? That was something that was gate kept in certain communities where you had to know someone to find out how to do this stuff. And he did everything he was supposed to do, right? He didn't buy some crazy house. He doesn't seem like the type that would have all these luxurious cars and vacations. And then, a loudspeaker, literally a loudspeaker at his job destroyed his entire life, right? A job is just income. It's not a retirement strategy. And it's the one basket you don't actually really control, right?
They could not like your tire one day.
Yeah, like there, and I know in North Carolina it's at will, so we ain't even got to tell you the reason.
Yeah,
right. You're out of there. We ain't got to give you no explanation. So, I mean, the whole thing. People don't understand how close to the knife's edge that they're living every single day.
Right.
One accident, you walk out that door, anything can happen. Now you can't work. What you gonna do?
Yeah, right? I had a lady today. It was a nurse, and this true story. Hope she's not watching. I'm not putting any names, but she got injured on a job, and her disability is $803 a month.
Oh wow!
And she can't work. She's getting $803 a month. So not even a portion of her previous income. So she can't.
She planned for this. She bought insurance,
but underinsured.
But right, exactly. She tried to do the right thing. Is my point. And still, that's what she's dealing with, right?
Right. And so that's what this clip is about. Like, all right, you thought you perceive that you're doing the right thing, you still come up short.
Yep.
So
what are some of the things? Yeah,
just to throw something in there is that's my whole prepper strategy is that 1 is none, 2 is 1, right? So if you're not over preparing and saying, hey, in case this happens, I need a backup, right? If I want to get one asset to cover a liability, now I need 2 assets covering that same liability. I'll bump it up to 3, right? You got to bake in these contingencies because life will kick you right in your face with no mercy. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of anticipate some of this stuff because you may not have a chance to make that pivot when it actually happens. And I feel bad for that nurse because $800, you imagine the stress that's added on to her, right? When she's supposed to be recovering. This is how people go down that slope, right? This is how things get bad very quickly for people.
Right.
I feel like that was the clip right there. Is life will kick you in the face. That was a good clip. It will absolutely. Are you prepared for it? It's going to happen.
Right.
When is the problem? When's the question?
My thing is this: if you have a shield on when it kicks you in the face, it's not going to hurt as much. You know, right? You know, so you got to have some type of preparation. You know, like the mortgage prepper, you got to be prepared. Also, even if it means taking a step back to take a step forward. You know, and that's what I did. I like, all right, do I need the big house? Let me get this house. It's not, you know, there is no neighborhood. I made the road, so you know where I'm at, but it doesn't have the curb appeal, but I don't have any bills, so I could sit there and my game plan is I want to run the numbers up, so that way I could, you know, pass on and, you know, stuff like that. But could I have maintained my huge house in Katy? Yeah, I could have still been there. But for what? What's the game? Why am I doing this for?
For what it's worth, by the way, for our listeners, just so you know, I highly, highly respect Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few people that can speak to this topic and actually deliver on it as a personal process. Like, I have watched and seen you, Brandon, do exactly this. You've shown me what you've given up, what you've had, and what you're doing next, all for the sake of trying to grow and be better. It has you exactly to your point. You have exactly everything you need and want right now. You could probably retire right now, to be honest, but you're not doing that. You're doing the right things to put action in place to put yourself in a better position and then help lead, train, develop other people and help bring them along with you. So the leadership that you have is amazing, which is why, honestly, when you invited me to be a co-host and I had the invitation to come join you, I'm like, dude, this guy's awesome. Let's go. So just anybody watching, Brandon is living proof of exactly what he's talking about. This is not just hypothetical. He's living it right now.
Right. Now I appreciate the kind words, but there is some downside because when you do step back, people think you fell off. You know, and I love that because it makes me even more hungry. I'm thinking about that today in the gym, like, damn, all right, y'all really think I fell off, right? You know, all right, I trained the Range Rover. I traded the Range Rover for actually people like, I get more compliments on my truck than I do the Range Rover. Actually, people like the Range Rover. People really love. I get comment a day on the truck. People like my truck. I don't know, it's Texas, you know. So I don't think my truck is that bad. You know, it's 2024, but you know, but I traded the Range Rover, got the truck, plain Jane, first American car in a minute. Who cares? It runs. It's brand new. It got all the bells and do I need the Range Rover? I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love the Range Rover. I love BMW. However, that's all going to come. You know, I want to go ahead and too much is given, much is anticipated, as much is expected, right? So I think I can live comfortable. I did that for 8 years. what now? You know, what's next? You know, I have more to give. So I'll go ahead and this. I want to say this to get back to the point before we do this last clip. When I was suggesting to the lady earlier, it was almost like I was talking a foreign language. I was like, well, you know, if you can't work, you still could do online stuff. You still could, you know, get a tax service. You could do this, and like I was talking to a wall. So I do, you know, feel for. However, there is things that you can do where you don't have to have physical work. You know, you could actually start an online business, AI business, anything. You know, get your tax license. You can get your insurance license. Like Jason was talking about, you get your insurance license in less than a week.
A mortgage broker.
Get your mortgage broker. You know, so this is not physically working on a railroad, but you why sit there helpless? I'm gonna just sit on this raft in the middle of the ocean and not pedal. Even though I don't see land, I'm gonna pedal somewhere. Eventually, land's gonna be somewhere.
As it's sinking, right? Because $800 is sinking.
Right,
That's not
sinking. So you say I'm just going to let it sink, and you know, no, pedal, kick. You know what I'm saying?
On that point, Brandon, just asking the question: are we going to play the clip, or are we just going to let it ride for the BDM program here?
Let's go ahead and yeah, because we're running out of time, so I wanted to make sure.
Okay, so let's just clip it right here.
Right.
If anybody wants to learn more about what you can do with Nexa Lending, the largest mortgage brokerage in the history of the country, with over 300 lenders, wholesale rate pricing, again, there's nobody that can touch us in the entire industry. If you would like to learn more about what you can do to join the company without a mortgage license, just simply helping us market the concept, scan the QR code at the top right of your screen, and you'll be able to learn more about what this is. Schedule a call with me one-to-one. We'll talk through your strategy, make sure that you understand exactly what's required. Keep in mind, there's not a lot involved. There is some requirement to keep it compliant, but you do not have to do a whole lot to be able to go out and market mortgage lending. It's pretty easy, right? You want to buy a house? Great. Call David, call Brendan, call Liz, call Anthony. Done. And you get paid. So It's that easy. If you want to add a retirement income strategy to this entire equation, and as you start learning and realizing how this whole thing goes, maybe, just maybe, you want to learn more and you want to actually get into this industry and learn it. We have coaches on staff that can teach and train you exactly how to get into the mortgage industry. And by the way, we need good qualified people. We have been losing people across the industry because of the interest rates lately. So we need good qualified people. Come on board, learn what's involved, and let's help you grow and build a retirement plan around whatever you're doing right now.
Right. And I will play the clip, and I want to say this, and then we'll run the last clip here. But this is one of the things that you can do to diversify your portfolio. And what I mean by that is that you're going to need more than one stream of income. That as Liz pointed out earlier, that one thing, and I do that one thing until I retire, that's dead. If you're online, if you're on TikTok, instead of just lurking, instead of this doom scrolling, get on and become a BDM. If you're, a bartender right now, you got an extra weekend, I'll show you how to hop online a couple of hours a week, and then you can get paid. Why not get a couple $1,000s a month, to go online? You don't have to leave your house and just talk about mortgages, and just tell them to contact Brandon B. Dixon. That's all you got to do. It's real easy. I'm gonna do the work for you. You just got to point them my way. You bird dogging. Let me run the clip, and then we'll go from there.
If you're a realtor and you're not getting paid for the mortgage conversations you're already having, we need to talk. You're speaking to buyers, sellers, past clients, your sphere every single day. And every time financing comes up, you're creating opportunity, but you're earning zero from it. At Nexa Lending, we've built a compliant business development manager program that lets you get paid for the business you generate without becoming a loan officer. No licensing, no quoting rates, no collecting docs. You simply connect people. We handle the mortgage. You get paid as a W-2 business development employee. Refinances, your CRM, your Sphere, other agents you introduce. You're already creating the business, now you monetize it. If you're serious about adding a real additional income stream this year, click the link, message me directly, and let's get you activated in under 10 minutes.
So again, go ahead, scan the QR code. Let's get you activated. I am looking for mentees. If you're a licensed loan officer, if you're not licensed, if you're influencer, you want to join the team. I'll show you how to go live. I have actual YouTube, especially for you guys. I have a TikTok, especially for you guys. So let's get it going. Contact me, contact David, contact Anthony, contact Liz. We do need, and we're looking for, and then Jason, I hope you're still looking. You're perfect for it. If you're already a life insurance agent, you don't need to get licensed. Just go ahead and, hey, anybody who mentions a mortgage or reverse mortgage, perfect. Send it my way, and you get paid for it. Easy peasy. Let's get into the last clip and the final thought, and then let's go and wrap it up. I want to hop into this last clip, and this was a shirt that I had, and I might bring it back. Maximize your 16. You get 16 hours a day, right? To work and do everything else. 8 hours of sleep. So maximize your 16. Your time, energy, and earning power have an expiration date. Use your strongest years to build assets. So your weakest years, you don't require your strongest effort. So you have 16 hours a day. What are we doing with it? Some of these things you're never going to get back. This is time as a commodity you never can reverse. So every day, that's what David asked me, how do you stay up on? I'm maximizing 16. I've been up since 5, and I'm not going to sleep till 10, and I'm popping back up for 5, going to the gym. I'm on it. You only need 5. You really 8 hours, really. I get 8 hours a few times a week, but sometimes 5 or 6 will do, and I keep going. It's required, man. So I'm trying to maximize, 16. I did 2 interviews a day. I hopped on TikTok live. I did the PowerPoint for tomorrow for Scott. I got to clear the clothes today on the TikTok loan. You know what I mean? So I had consultations. It keep every day. You got to be on it because everybody has the same 24 hours. What are you going to do with it? So with that being said, let's run this last clip here, and then let's go ahead and take it out on the last discussion. All right, let me know when y'all can see the screen. Y'all see it?
Yes.
All right, cool.
This is so sad. That's the reality. This is so sad. But do you know how many people that this is the reality for them? How many times have you gone to a Depot? How many times have you gone to a McDonald's and you've seen someone that's a grandmother, a grandfather, that's too elderly to even be working, and they're there working because they have to work to make enough money just to make it to the next day? This is the reality of what's happening right this very moment. Unfortunately, most people want to ignore and most people want to act like things are okay and the government is going to make things better when it's not. You need to start working on what you need to do. A 9 to 5 is not going to be enough. I'm not telling you to quit your job. So I don't want anybody thinking that that's the message I'm saying. What I'm saying to you, anything that is tied to how many hours you can physically work means there's a limit to it. And we all understand, even with people with degrees, they're not making enough money just to make it to the next day. So I'm going to encourage everybody, please, you must start investing in yourself. You must start investing. Take the money that you're making and start putting it somewhere that can eventually start growing and start paying you. Because many people are going to be in the same situation as this man right here, where you're going to be in your elderly age, 60s, 70s, 80s, and needing to work because you're not going to make it into the next day. What are you doing to prepare yourself for tomorrow? Because tomorrow will come quicker than you think. Are you prepared? Comment below.
Still muted, B.
Oh, my bad. So,
you gotta, yeah.
you give it out. All right, so perfect way to end it. You know, if this doesn't put something on your mind to that this could be a reality, you know, you don't want to be that guy. Shout out to the guy who's still able to work, because some people aren't able. Some people are, you know, are stuck in the house. You know, so luckily he has faculties still, marbles and muscles, right? You know, so lucky he has his wits, but you still at that age, I think you shouldn't have to be in those circumstances if you would have planned it out early. But this could easily be you if you play too safe, or if you don't plan enough. This could be likely be you, where you're forced to work. You know, and this is a reality. So again, let's go ahead, give me your natural reaction to this clip. How should we maximize our prime earning years now, so working at 70 or 80 becomes a choice instead of financial necessity? You know, really, I don't think anybody should be working at. I think you should be teaching and caring and stuff like that. You should be doing something else other than working. Because I'm gonna tell you this, and I'll open it up. You don't want to be where your boss is 21, you're 80 years old. You know. And your boss, you know, was born in 2006. You know,
Yeah.
so
can I throw out there that if you're in a space like we are all in here in the mortgage space, where we can just, I mean, technically speaking, if we can talk, we can go till we're 90, 100 years old, right? Like in our space, there's really no sense of retirement. Like, we technically could never retire if we wanted to. If we really wanted to just keep doing it because we like it, there's nothing stopping us. That's not the majority of the people that are our audience here. So that's the problem, is what happens if you get to 40, 50, 60, 70 years old and you can't keep going in the physical demand this workplace takes on you. Now what? So I think, honestly, having something that does not take a physical demand on your body is the main key component to being financially successful in building this out long term. Find something. It doesn't have to be this industry, mortgages or real estate. It can be anything that does not require physical work. Just, if you're in that position, find something that can help you get into something non-physical. If you're in a non-physical place, like our business, great. Now that's a different mentality. That is something like, okay, so now what am I going to do next? Am I building a team? Am I going to be a branch manager? Am I going to recruit? Am I like what? There's a whole other element here in this space. But either way, the nice thing is I don't have to really worry about that as much, because if I'm able to type in my keyboard and speak to people at 90 years old, I can still technically make money. Right? So I don't know.
Maybe David, I'm not trying to have to work after.
Yeah, do
I don't
you
wanna work
really
after
want to do that?
to be honest with you.
A, do you really want to do that? And then B, don't forget, it's marbles and muscle that you could lose, right?
Yeah.
So are you going? Don't forget that sugar, in the brain causes dementia, right? So we don't know, So will we? I don't think that's a good plan. Like, all right, I'm gonna hold on to this. And that's
I'm not saying it's a good plan. Not,
right.
No.
Right. So like, yeah, even you want to have it to where if I decide to do nothing, like the guy on the earlier clip, that I have the assets to back that up, that I could do nothing if I choose to do that. I don't want to have to chase my next deal.
Right. And then you could find, I mean, I hear a lot of people say, oh, I want to keep doing this because I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that you love your job so much that you can't find something else you could love doing? There's a bunch of things I want to try when I get older. I don't want to have to be going to work, right? So I get what you said. Some people really love what they do, and I get that. For me, The moment I get a chance to go do all the cool things I wanted to do as a kid, I'm gonna go do that, right? And that's my idea of retirement, is getting up and sitting in the garage and watching people walk around until I get a bright idea. Oh, I remember I wanted to try this. Let me go do that, right? But I will say, your body is the one asset that's guaranteed to depreciate, no matter what, right? And the whole game is converting the energy you have now in your younger years into assets before the energy actually runs out. So you don't want to be in a position where your weakest years are the years that demand more energy from you, right? Or more effort, right? That's why I kind of keep going now, because I can come up with a lot of reasons not to do anything, right? I've always been a laid back kind of guy. I can go relax and go stare at the stars and feel content, right? So I know I can do that, but I want to make sure that I could do that when I'm 70 and not have to worry about putting food on the table, right?
Right.
So I get it. Your body will depreciate, and if you don't use it now, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, your mind as well, you know.
Yeah,
So,
body and mind, same thing. Yeah.
You know, don't.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I agree with Anthony. We have to think about the now and start doing things that, you know, build our assets up, and we are living in the age of, you know, AI. So there's so many use ChatGPT and help you figure out what you can do from home to make money with the extra $1,000 that you have a month. What can you do to put it into that'll build passive income? Whether it's buying vending machines, or I mean, there's so many little things that you can do to just start building that passive income. You just have to take those risks and start thinking outside the box and get rid of that victim mentality.
Right. So buy assets instead of vacations, you know, but
Yeah.
you know, that's the thing, is that we love vacation, though. We live for the weekend.
Well, we need that, but buy the asset first
Right.
and have a vacation fund. Don't just
Right.
be, you know, we need to start keeping track of our money and where's it going. A lot of people have no idea.
Right.
And maybe downgrade a vacation. You ain't got to go to Cabo. Just take a day off of work. Sit on the couch. That's a mini vacation, right?
You probably I've never been on a vacation in my life.
I went on my first one last year. Yeah,
I've never taken a vacation. The only time I took a vacation when my daughter graduated from college and from high school, and even then I drove there, seen her walk the stage, and drove back and went back to work. I've never been on a cruise. I've never been. You know, everywhere I go, I'm still working. So
I'm gonna say, if you've gone on a Royal Caribbean cruise and you just walk into that place, boy, it's hard to not leave.
I'm more of a Viking than a Cunard type of guy in Royal Caribbean.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I went on my first cruise ever, first vacation ever.
Right.
The Ritz-Carlton. That's the one you want to do.
Yeah, that's the one you want to go to.
That's the one you want to do.
Cheese right there for sure.
I've never been on a cruise.
Yeah, I haven't been on. It does.
So Royal Caribbean is amazing, by the way. But I've learned recently that it's better on other classes, even above that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, really?
Right.
Like, this is all I need to go here. So now that's my next thing. But after the show, now I'm questioning it. Do I want to do that? Do I want to go to the next thing? Do I want to save money for the asset class?
Try it. You got to try. This is the thing, and this is, and maybe I'm messed up for saying this, and you know, maybe I'm messed up. If I don't do it 100%, I won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I can't go first class, and this is probably because my mentor already does everything first class. If I can't go Viking, I'm not going to do Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Carnival. I'm not going to do it. If I can't go, you know, VIP tickets to the concert, I'm not going. I'm not going in the nosebleeds. I'm not going. You know, that's how I am. If I can't do it, I'm not going to do it. That's why when I go on vacation, I just want to go, and then I want to go one way, and when I decide to come back, I'll go another one way. That's vacation.
That's not a vacation. That's a relocation until you decide to come back.
I'm going to go, and then when I decide to come back, I'll come back.
If you
That's
decide
a vacation.
It must be nice.
You know, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. So, you know, I want to eventually get to that point. That's what I'm working toward. Like, you know, when I go to Thailand, I'm gonna go, and then when I decide I'll come back, I'll come back, and then I'll go again. You know, I don't want to have. All right, so I'm here. I got Thursday, and then I'm jet lagged the whole day, and then I'm trying to see it. Nah, that's why do that. Why spend money to do that if you're gonna do half-ass? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I think a lot of people, what they run into, the trouble they get into is they have those dreams, right? There's nothing wrong with having that idea. Problem is that you're jumping over the steps to get to that idea where you should be taking the baby steps, right?
Right.
People want that instant gratification. They're not going to tell themselves, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Thailand for a month, but I still don't have the money to do so, right? I don't have anything in my emergency fund. I don't have my retirement lined up."
Right.
You know,
and you're penny pinching while you're out there.
Exactly, and that's not really doing it the way you were supposed to do it in the first place.
That's not a vacation. What are we doing?
Brendan is older than you might think.
Right.
That he's actually been saving and planning and doing this thing for longer than you might think. So it's not just like he's thought about this yesterday, right?
Well, I could even go on vacation right now. Is that will I enjoy it? You know, it's like, all right, if I got to be back Thursday, why did I pay this money?
Do you have to be back? Because your job means you can. I was on the cruise working.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, as far as all right, what I won't even be looking at the amount of money I'm spending. You know, I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
I want to go and hey, if I want to go, you know, there's these world cruises as well, right? Where you can go 6 months, a year.
Yeah.
That's
They're not actually that expensive either. Like they're only like $100. I looked at them. I'm like they're like 50, 60 grand a year.
Right.
And I'm like, that's really not that much. I mean, like,
all right,
that's
you get food and everything. That's not bad. You got the gym. You got everything.
That's really nice. I'm like, I actually have told my wife, I'm like, we need to go on this all world round cruise because I can work anywhere with my business. So why are we not doing this? Give it a hot minute.
In Thailand right now.
Yeah, give it a hot minute. I might do this.
Right. Yeah. Let me wrap it up with the final thought, and then we'll go ahead wrap it up for the day because we're about 15 minutes over. All right. So retirement isn't an age; it's a plan. Your job can disappear, your health can change, and your earning power can decline. Ownership means building assets, income, and options before you need them. So what's your game plan now? Maximize the 16. It's not that I need the money right now, but I'm game planning on when I want to spend that money on the world cruise. You know, and it doesn't matter at that point. But if you're taking from your future to go on this world cruise, that's the problem. That's a problem. You know, so I get it. Oh, you know, you're only young once. Live, you know, while you're young, and yeah, but I don't want to do something and spend money to have fun. I'm not going to have fun. You know, and I'm doing it half-assed. Again, McDonald's is you get full, but is that really eating? You know, even though it's cheap, I can do it. It's quick, but is that nutritious? Is that something that's going to fuel the body? Hell no. You know, and with that being said, Liz, go ahead and tell them one more time where they can see you and find you, and then we'll go off from there.
Yeah, so DSCR Mortgage Gal. I'm all over social media. I'm mostly on Facebook, but you can find me everywhere if you just type in Liz Lopez, DSCR Mortgage Gal. And my number is 602-410-0995. I also do mentor loan officers if somebody is interested in coming over to Nexa and going through the academy, or if you're already seasoned LO, coming on board and having me help mentor you. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on tonight.
Yes, we definitely appreciate you. And anytime you want to stop by, just let us know. We definitely appreciate you stopping by, and I definitely appreciate you being on the panel. With that being said, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Thank you.
Take ownership. Don't make excuses. Don't blame any other person or any other thing. Get control of your ego. Take ownership of everything in your world, the good and the bad. Take ownership of your mistakes, take ownership of your shortfalls, take ownership of your problems, and then take ownership of the solutions that will get those problems solved. And when a team takes ownership of its problems, the problems get solved. And that is true on the battlefield, it is true in business, and it is true in life.